Hi everyone, this is Aishwarya here and today's session is about French Revolution. Let's go to the topic. The French Revolution started with the breaking open of state prison Bastille on 4th July 1789. The reign of terror that followed the beheading of King Louis XVI and his queen ended only when Napoleon became the emperor in May 1804. In 1793, England was forced to declare war against French Revolution because the French revolutionary rulers offered to help all nations who wished to follow the examples of French and overthrow their kings. The war continued up to Battle of Waterloo in 1815, when Lord Wellington inflicted a crushing defeat on Napoleon. And next, the impact of French Revolution. This prolonged war of 20 years had lasting effects on England. The most important and immediate effect was huge national debt. It has been estimated that the cost of the war from beginning to the end was nearly 1 billion euros. The nation, which consisted of 19 million people, had to pay annually a large amount by way of interest. In 1815, the country had to raise 74 million euros by taxation alone. The peace that followed the war was the cause of the fall in the prices of coal and iron. Many men employed in the industry were thrown out of their jobs. After the signing of the peace treaty, nearly 500,000 soldiers, sailors and others who had been engaged directly in the war were dismissed from active service. They added to the already swelling army of the unemployed. Thus the problem of unemployment became much more acute than before. During the 20 years of war, there was no import of European corn into England, and this causes the price of corn to go high. So that the price of corn go to high, the agricultural lots stood to benefit by this. However, after the restoration of peace, the free flow of European corn was resumed, which brought down the price of English corn. This was resented by the English agriculturists, and so to protect their interest, the Corn Law was passed in 1816. This had disastrous effects on poor and especially in the time of famine. Their sufferings lead to the formation of Anti-Corn Law League. It was this association that was ultimately responsible for the repeal of Corn Law in 1846 by the Prime Minister Robert Peel. There was widespread discontent among poor people on account of various factors like low wages, high price of corn and unemployment. There were fire riots in many places, and government authorities tried to put down these riots with an iron hand. In 1819, the magistrates of Manchester foolishly attempted to arrest a radical leader known as Orator Hunt at a large gathering in St. Peter's Field. On meeting with the resistance from the crowd, the government officer ordered a cavalry charge upon an unarmed mob. Mob in the sense, it's a group. 11 persons were killed and 600 wounded. The event, properly called the Battle of Peterloo or the Manchester of Massacre, was used by agitators to embarrass the government. To get their grievances redressed, the poor agitator for parliamentary reform, and after much opposition from the Lords, the first reform bill was passed in 1832. The another effect of French Revolution was the both navy and army were recognized as national institutions. The Battle of Trafalgar, won by Lord Nelson during the Revolutionary War in 1805, highlighted the greatness of English Navy. The victory was commemorated by renaming a part of London as Trafalgar Square, where the statue of Nelson stands on lofty column. The Trafalgar Square with its 51.5-meter column topped by the statue of Admiral Horatio Nelson looking out to the River Thames, is one of the favorite tourist spots in London. It is the traditional end of most protest marches and rallies in the capital. With the victories of Lord Wellington at Waterloo in 1815 on land, the army became popular as it had never been before. Barracks were built to house the troops and haphazard billeting of soldiers in public houses came to an end. This was done to the great relief of both civilian population and soldiers themselves. The next topic is impact of French Revolution in English literature. The French Revolution was a source of inspiration to many English writers for writing some of their best-known works. Thus, Edmund Burke was inspired to write his famous book called Reflection on the French Revolution, written in style that is unique. Burke questions the propriety of action of the revolutionaries in doing away with monarchy and making the National Assembly all-powerful. He expresses the opinion that defective institutions of the old regime should have been reformed and not destroyed. In reply to this was written Rights of Man in 2 volumes by Thomas Paine. In the first part of the book, he upholds the idea that constitution of country is an act of people constituting the government, and in the absence of such written constitutions, government is tyranny. Thus the Paine takes pains to justify the French Revolution and traces the circumstance leading to the declaration of right of the man by National Assembly. The second part of the book consists of proposals to improve the condition of Europe and England. These proposals, though considered to be too revolutionary in those days, were taken seriously and implemented by the democratic governments in various countries of the world. Notable among these taxation provision for the aged poor. Notable among these proposals are a large reduction of administrative expenditure and taxation, provision for the aged poor, family allowance, allowances for the education of the poor, maternity grants, funeral grants, and limitation of armaments by treaty. The another work of literary importance inspired by the same political events is the French Revolution by Thomas Carlyle. Though considered by some as very partial view of the revolution, it is no doubt the poetic unrolling of a great historical melodrama illustrating the nemesis that comes upon those who oppress the poor. The book also contains a gallery of magnificent pen portraits of historical figures like Mirabeau, Lafayette, Danton and Robespierre. A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens is yet another book which gives a true picture of Paris and London during the time of French Revolution. And finally we came to conclusion that the French Revolution ushered in a new era in the history of English literature. Coming when it did, English Romanticism should be considered as a byproduct of the great political event. Romanticism or Romantic movement started when Wordsworth and Coleridge together published the Lyrical Ballads in 1798. Wordsworth discarded the artificial style and showed by practice that beautiful poetry could be written on ordinary subjects and in ordinary language. The movement was completed by younger poets like Byron, Shelley and Keats. Okay guys, try to answer these questions and thanks for watching. Bye.